I am Dr. Meenu Bhatnagar from the Center of Russian Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. I welcome you all to on Basics of Russian Communication Skills Part 2. In this module, we will continue with the topic of aspects of verb. As you have learnt that the tense tells you when the action took place, but the aspects of verb or vidhi glagola indicate if the action is completed or ongoing. Let us quickly revise the meaning and the difference between the imperfective and perfective aspects, and then we will solve some exercises. Most of the Russian verbs have two aspects, namely the imperfective and perfective aspect. The imperfective aspect in Russian is the savarshany vid. A perfective aspect is called savarshany vid. So, nisavarshany vid and savarshany vid. There are three ways by which the verbs of the perfective aspect differ from their imperfective verbs. First and foremost, the verbs of the perfective aspect differ from the imperfective verbs by prefixes. We had done the pair chitaj, prachitaj, slushaj, paslushaj, zavtrakaj, pazavtrakaj, делать, сделать, учить, выучить, and so on. The second way by which the verbs of the perfective aspect differ from the imperfective verbs by suffixes. Повторять, повторить, встречать, встретить, открывать, открыть, получать, получить, рассказывать, рассказать. And the third way was the perfective aspect may also have a different root. In the examples like gavarich, skazaj, where gavarich is the imperfective and skazaj is the perfective. Pakupaj, imperfective, kupij, perfective. Vzyaj, braj, imperfective, vzyaj, perfective. Let us revise the meaning of the imperfective and perfective aspect. The imperfective verb denotes an action in progress or an ongoing action. This action could be in progress in the present tense, it could be in progress in the past tense, or it could be in progress in future tense. Imperfective verbs have three tenses. They can be used in present tense, they can be used in past tense, they can also be used in future tense. Whereas the perfective verb denotes an action a completed action. For example, včera я читал книгу and včera я прочитал интересную книгу. Between these two sentences, in the first sentence, včera я читал книгу, it indicates that I read a book. Yesterday I read a book. Včera я прочитал интересную книгу also means yesterday I read an interesting book. The difference in the meaning of using chitach and prachitach is when you use the imperfective verb, it indicates only the action that has taken place without any reference to its completion. So, včera я читал книгу, it means that I read a book. Just as a fact, naming of a fact, one can use the form of the imperfective verb. Včera я читал книгу would mean I read a book. But if we are using the perfective verb, včera я прочитал интересную книгу or včera я прочитал книгу, it indicates that I had read a book and I had finished reading a book. So, the use of perfective aspect indicates completion of that action. So, včera я прочитал книгу indicates that I read a book, I finished reading a book. Let us see one more example. В воскресенье мы будем смотреть спектакль. Воскресенье мы будем смотреть спектакль. And with perfective, воскресенье я обязательно посмотрю новый спектакль. So in the perfective aspect, we use the auxiliary verb which to use the verb in perfective form, that is the compound future tense. For using the perfective verb in future tense, we simply conjugate the verbs, since perfective verbs do not have present tense. So, воскресенье мы будем смотреть спектакль, and воскресенье я обязательно посмотрю новый спектакль. The difference between these two sentences is that in the sentence when we are using the imperfective, it is simply saying that I will watch a play on Sunday. Whether I will watch finally, whether I'll be able to go, there is no indication of that. It is only naming an action that will be taking place in future without any indication of the surety or the guarantee of doing or finishing that action. Воскресенье мы будем смотреть спектакль. In case of using the perfective aspect, воскресенье я обязательно посмотрю новый спектакль. The use of the perfective verb посмотреть indicates that the action will take place in future, as well as that the action, there is a guarantee that the action will be done. So, воскресенье я обязательно посмотрю спектакль would mean that on Sunday I will definitely watch a new play. In the next sentence, завтра я буду рисовать картину, and завтра я нарисую картину. In these two sentences, the verb рисовать, нарисовать are being used. Рисовать is the imperfective verb and нарисовать is the perfective counterpart of the verb рисовать. It means to draw. Завтра я буду рисовать картину means I will be drawing a picture tomorrow, or I will draw a picture tomorrow. Завтра я нарисую картину means tomorrow I will draw a picture. Between the two verbs, imperfective and perfective, the difference is when we use the imperfective verb, it means that I am going to draw a picture tomorrow, but there is no guarantee that I will finish the picture that day. But when we are using the perfective verb, it gives us the surety that the action will start and finish. So, завтра я нарисую картину means that tomorrow I will draw a picture, but I will finish drawing the picture tomorrow. The next difference in meaning of the use of perfective and imperfective aspect is that imperfective aspect is used to denote repeated action, to denote habitual action, whereas the perfective aspect denotes an action that has taken place only once. So, for example, мы каждое утро читаем газету. Сегодня мы прочитали газету. Мы каждое утро читаем газету means that every day we read a newspaper. So, каждое утро, this phrase indicates regularity in which the action читать takes place. So, every morning we read a newspaper. So, the imperfective verb indicates an habitual action. So, каждое утро мы читаем газету. In case of perfective verb, сегодня мы прочитали газету, it would mean that today we have read a newspaper. It means that we finished reading the newspaper as a one-time action. The third difference in the meaning of perfective and imperfective, let's take one more example of the repeated action and the action that takes place once. Он пил кофе. Сегодня он выпил кофе. Он пил кофе каждый день. It means he drank coffee every day. That means every day denotes a habitual action. Сегодня обычно он пьет чай, но сегодня он выпил кофе. Here the use of the perfective aspect выпить indicates that it was done once. So usually he drinks tea, but today he drank coffee. The third difference in the meaning of perfective and imperfective aspect is that the imperfective aspect is used to denote simultaneous action and the perfective aspect denotes consecutive actions. Let's see the example. Друзья разговаривали, пили кофе и слушали музыку. So разговаривали, пили, слушали. These three verbs are imperfective, and the use of these three verbs together indicate an action that is taking place at the three actions that are taking place at the same time. Друзья разговаривали, пили чай or coffee, слушали музыку. So they were talking to each other, having coffee as well as listening to the music. All these three actions were taking place at the same time. To denote such simultaneous actions, we use the imperfective aspect. In the other example, сначала они поговорили, потом выпили кофе и только затем послушали музыку. Here the use of the perfective verbs поговорить, выпить, послушать indicate consecutive action. Сначала они поговорили, first they spoke, потом выпили, after that they had coffee, и только затем, and only after that, послушали музыку, they listened to the music. So it indicates consecutive action. The first action got over, and only after that the next action happened, and after that the third action. So the use of perfective aspect denotes consecutive action. Let us do some exercises to understand the use of the aspects, the perfective as well as the imperfective aspects. The exercise is fill in the blanks using the appropriate form of the verb читать, прочитать. Читать, прочитать means to read. In the following sentences, let us try and use these verbs paying attention to the meaning of the aspect. In the first sentence, сейчас он dash газету. Here, the verb that you will be using will be of imperfective aspect. Why? Because of the adverb сейчас. Сейчас means now. That means the action is taking place right now. Сейчас он читает газету. The imperfective verb читать is conjugated according to the pronoun on. Сейчас он читает газету. Here the imperfective aspect denotes an action that is going on in the present. Сейчас он читает газету means right now he is reading a newspaper. So an action that is going on in progress at present. To denote such action, we use imperfective aspect. In the second sentence, let us see which verb will be used. Этот роман я уже, роман means novel, so this novel, уже means already, so this novel I have already read. So here уже indicates the completion of an action. To denote completion of an action, we use the perfective aspect. So here the verb that will be used will be прочитать, and you will use it in the appropriate form. You will conjugate according to the pronoun я. So этот роман я уже прочитал. The past tense form indicates the completion of an action. You can also say я уже прочитала if the subject is feminine. Этот роман я уже прочитал. Этот роман я уже прочитала. Both will be correct. In the next sentence, Maya sestra lyubit. Here the verb lyubit means to like, to love. So my sister loves reading. Here again the verb lyubit indicates a habitual action. In order to denote a habitual action, we use the imperfective verb. So the verb used will be chittaj. Now in this sentence we will not conjugate the verb chittaj because it will be used as a second verb. The first verb lyubit is already used in the conjugated form. Lyubit chittaj. Maya sestra lyubit chittaj. Maya sestra lyubit chittaj would mean my sister loves reading. It is indicating a habitual or a regular action. In the next sentence, вечером я обычно dash по-русски. Here the verb used will be imperfective because of the adverb обычно. Обычно means usually. Обычно indicates an action that takes place more than once or on a regular basis. So вечером я обычно читаю по-русски. Means in the evening I usually read in Russian. So обычно читаю по-русски, read in Russian. In the next sentence, недавно я dash по-русски небольшой рассказ о дружбе. What does it mean? Недавно, it means not so long ago I read a small story about friendship in Russian. In the next sentence, недавно я dash по-русски небольшой рассказ о дружбе. Недавно means not long ago. Небольшой рассказ means a short story. О дружбе means about friendship. So not very long ago I read a short story about friendship in Russian. So here the use of the adverb недавно indicates completion of an action. недавно я прочитал по-русски небольшой рассказ о дружбе. Недавно indicates completion of an action, and to denote completion of an action we use the perfective aspect in past tense because the action has already taken place. So недавно я прочитал по-русски небольшой рассказ о дружбе. In the next few sentences, let us try to use the verbs делать, сделать. Делать and сделать means to do. Делать is imperfective verb and сделать is perfective form. Let us see in which sentence which particular verb can be used. Alexei, ты уже dash все упражнения? Now here the hint for the verb that you will be using is уже and все. Уже indicates already, все mean all. So Alexei, have you already done all the exercises? So for this you will be using the verb of perfective aspect, сделать, which you will be conjugating according to the pronoun ты. So ты сделал. Ты would be used in past tense because have you already done all the exercises? So that is past tense, and Alexei is a name of a boy, so you will be using the past tense form in the masculine. Alexei, ты уже сделал все упражнения? Alexei is answering, нет, не все. No, not all. Сейчас я dash второе упражнение. Now here the adverb сейчас means now, which means action that is going on at the moment, which is in progress right now. To denote an action which is in progress, in present we use a verb of imperfective aspect. So делать will be used, and it will be used with the conjugation according to the pronoun я. So сейчас я делаю. Сейчас я делаю второе упражнение. So right now I am doing the second exercise. In the next sentence, а что сейчас dash Олег? Again, the adverb сейчас indicates right now. So the action that is taking place right now will be denoted by the use of the imperfective verb. So here, even in this sentence, we will be using the verb делать. It will be used according to Олег, which is the name of a boy. А что сейчас делает Олег? Олег on, so on делает. А что сейчас делает Олег? And what is Олег doing right now? Сейчас он читает журнал. In the answer, again we are using an imperfective verb читать. So right now Олег is reading a journal. So сейчас Олег читает журнал, or Олег или он читает журнал. In the next sentence, choose the appropriate verb. Писать, написать. Let us see. Он часто dash письма домой. Now here the choice of the aspect is very clear because of the adverb часто. Часто means often. Again, this particular use of the adverb indicates an action that is taking place more than once, which is a habitual or a regular action. So to denote such actions, we use the imperfective verb, which is писать. So we will be using the verb писать and conjugating it appropriately according to the pronoun or the subject on. So он часто пишет письма домой. He often writes letters home. The next sentence, you have to use the verb получать, получить. In this sentence, you have to use the verb получать, получить. Получать, получить means to receive, to get. Получать is the imperfective verb and получить is the verb of the perfective aspect. So let us read the sentence. Вчера я dash одно письмо. Again, the adverb вчера, which is yesterday, that means you have to conjugate the verb in past tense. Now, because the action is completed, yesterday I received one letter. It indicates the action is completed. And so to denote that action, you will be using the perfective aspect, which is получить. So, and in the past tense. So the form that you will be using will be получил or получила, depending on the gender of the pronoun я. So if it is masculine, then you can use вчера я получил одно письмо, or you can also say вчера я получила одно письмо if the subject is a girl. So yesterday I received a letter. Let us see the next sentence where you have to use the verbs ужинать or поужинать. Ужинать, поужинать means to have dinner, to have supper. Ужинать, поужинать. Ужинать is the verb of imperfective aspect and поужинать is a perfective aspect verb. Let us see which verb will be used in this particular sentence. Обычно она dash дома, но вчера dash в ресторане. To have dinner. Обычно means usually. So usually indicates an action that takes place more than once. To denote a regular or a habitual action, we use the verb of imperfective aspect. So in the first blank, we will be using the verb ужинать because it is indicating a habitual action. So обычно она dash doma. The verb used will be užinać, which will be conjugated according to the pronoun ana. So обычно она ужинает дома. No včera, but yesterday. So usually she eats dinner at home, but yesterday, again it is indicating that yesterday was a one-time action. So to denote one-time action, we will use the verb of perfective aspect, which is поужинать, and we will conjugate according to the pronoun ana, but because it is yesterday, we will use the past tense form of the verb поужинать, indicating a one-time action that has taken place already. So обычно она ужинает дома. So usually she eats dinner at home. Но вчера, but yesterday, поужинала в ресторане. Но вчера она поужинала в ресторане means but yesterday she had her dinner in a restaurant. She had a dinner in a restaurant. So here it indicates a one-time action. That is why поужинать. Let us see the next sentence where you have to use the verbs рассказывать and рассказать. Рассказывать means to narrate, to tell. Рассказывать is a verb of imperfective aspect. Рассказать means the verb of perfective aspect. Let us see which one you can use in the following sentence. Tanya часто dash о семье. Семья is family, a семье about family. Часто is an adverb which means often. So Tanya часто, when you are using the adverb часто, it indicates again an action which takes place more than once. So to denote such actions, we use imperfective aspect. The verb that we will be using here will be рассказывать, and you will be conjugating this verb рассказывать according to the subject Tanya, она. So you will put the conjugated form of the verb рассказывать, она. Она рассказывает. So Tanya часто рассказывает о семье, which means Tanya often tells us about family, about her family. So Tanya часто рассказывает о семье. If you want to use verb in past tense, you can say рассказывала. Tanya часто рассказывала о семье, which would mean that Tanya used to tell about her family. She often used to tell about her family. In the next sentence, you have to use the verb писать, написать. Писать, написать means to write. Писать is the verb of imperfective aspect and написать is the perfective aspect verb. The sentence is он часто dash письма домой. In this sentence, you will be using the imperfective aspect because of the adverb часто, which indicates that the action is taking place habitually or regularly, and conjugate it according to the pronoun on. Он часто пишет письма домой. He often writes letters home. In the next part of the sentence, вчера я dash одно письмо. Here, yesterday I wrote a letter indicates completion of an action. So to denote completion of an action, we use the verb of perfective aspect. Here the verb of perfective aspect is написать. So you will be conjugating the verb написать according to я and also paying attention to the tense. Here the adverb that is used is вчера, which means yesterday. Yesterday I wrote a letter. So the tense will be past tense here. So я вчера я написал одно письмо. Or вчера я написала одно письмо. That can be написал or napisala, both would be correct depending on the gender of the pronoun ya. If it is a boy, it can be ya napisal. If it's a girl, it can be ya napisala. So past tense form of the verb of perfective aspect. In the next sentence, you have to use the verb zavtrakach, pazavtrakach. Zavtrakach, pazavtrakach means to have breakfast. So zavtrakach is imperfective aspect, pazavtrakach is the perfective aspect. The sentence is Обычно мы dash в 8 часов. Обычно here indicates usually. Again, this word adverb indicates an action that is taking place more than once or regularly. So to denote such actions, we will be using the verb of imperfective aspect, which is zavtrakach. So in the first sentence, you will be using the imperfective aspect zavtrakach, and you will be using the conjugated form according to the pronoun мы. So мы завтракаем. So the correct form of the sentence would be обычно мы завтракаем в 8 часов. It means that usually we have breakfast at 8 o'clock. In the next sentence, я быстро dash и пошел на занятия. Пошел на занятия means went for the classes. So я быстро, быстро means quickly. Here the meaning is of consecutive actions. So I had my breakfast, then I went to the class. So I finished having my breakfast and then I went to my class. So the meaning is consecutive action, which is denoted by the use of perfective aspect verb. So the verb that you will be using is pazavtrakach, and you will be using it in past tense because once it is completed, only then the next action has started. So pashol, the second verb here, is also used in past tense. So the first blank will be used, you will be using the past tense form of the verb позавтракать. Я быстро позавтракал и пошел на занятия. Пошел на занятия already indicates that the ya is a boy, it's a male. So позавтракал. So я быстро позавтракал, I quickly had my breakfast and left, or I went to the class. So one action has completed, another had started. Consecutive actions are denoted by the use of the perfective aspect verbs. In the next sentence, the verbs that you have to use are abhyedaj, pabhyedaj. Abhyedaj, pabhyedaj means to have lunch. To have lunch. Каждый день on dash в 2 часа. In this sentence, the phrase каждый день is used, which means every day. So every day he eats his lunch at 2 o'clock. Because каждый день is being used here, it indicates a habitual action every day. So to denote this action, you will be using the imperfective aspect, which is abhyedaj, and conjugate it according to the pronoun on. So каждый день on обедает. On обедает в 2 часа. He eats lunch at 2 o'clock. In the next sentence, они dash и поехали в кино. Here the meaning is that they had lunch and they went to the cinema hall. So here the meaning is of consecutive action, which is denoted by the use of the perfective aspect verb, which will be pabhyedaj. Here you will be using the past tense form of the verb pabhyedaj because the second verb payekhali already indicates had already taken place, and you will put the past tense form according to the pronoun ani, which is plural. So ani pabhyedali I payekhali v kino. They had their breakfast, they had their lunch, and they went to the theatre or cinema hall. In the last sentence, you have to use the verbs pakupaj, kupich. Now here the perfective aspect is formed from a different root. So pakupaj, kupich means to buy, to purchase. Pakupaj, kupich, here the imperfective aspect verb is pakupaj and kupich is the perfective aspect verb. Let us read the sentence. В киоске мы часто газеты и журналы. Kiosk is a stall. Газеты и журналы means newspapers and journals. So в киоске, at the stall, мы часто газеты и журналы. So we often buy newspapers and magazines at a stall. So again, the use of the adverb chasta, which means often, indicates a habitual, a regular action, which will be denoted by the use of imperfective aspect. So the verb pakupaj will be used here in this sentence, and it will be conjugated according to the subject or the pronoun мы. В киоске мы часто покупаем газеты и журналы. In the next sentence, эти книги я в магазине means these books. These books в магазине in the shop. So I have bought these books in the shop indicates an action that has been completed. To indicate completion of an action, we use the perfective aspect. Here we will be using the verb kupich in past tense. So эти книги я купил в магазине. So these books I bought in a shop. Dear learners, I hope you have got a fair idea about the meaning of the two aspects of the verb, which is the perfective as well as the imperfective aspects. You have learnt all the different scenarios in which the verbs are used. Let me tell you that this topic is not an easy one, but with practice of the verbs of perfective and imperfective aspects, you can achieve a better understanding of this important grammatical category of verbs in Russian language. I hope you will revise and practice so that you don't forget what you have just learnt. Удачи вам! Спасибо!